Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into the absolute gold standard of wholesale grain procurement today, 1121 Basmati Parboiled Rice. Look, if you're an international importer, a distributor, or running a massive food service operation, mastering the technical specs of this specific grain is literally a game changer for optimizing your supply chain. We're going to dive into the hard data, the processing science, and the real-world culinary applications that make this rice such a top-tier global commodity. Let's get right into it. Here is a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start off with the 1121 Parboiled Advantage, move into premium grain specifications, break down the parboiling process itself, look at culinary applications, and then we'll wrap the whole thing up with procurement and supplier selection. All right, let's dive into Section 1, the 1121 Parboiled Advantage. So, what exactly makes 1121 Basmati the absolute go-to choice for international wholesale and food service buyers? Well, the short answer really comes down to an exceptional grain length, combined with this fiercely resilient, firm cooking performance that standard rice simply cannot replicate. To put it simply, 1121 Basmati Parboiled Rice is a premium, extra-long grain variety. It's primarily sourced from the incredibly fertile regions of Punjab. Now, the real secret sauce here lies in the controlled parboiling it goes through right before milling. You see, this highly engineered process doesn't just pre-cook the rice. It actually fortifies the grain's physical strength, locks in essential vitamins, and creates that highly sought-after, characteristic off-white appearance. Moving right along to Section 2, Premium Grain Specifications. Let's talk hard numbers, because if you're in wholesale procurements, we both know these exact numbers are what dictate your margins, your quality control, and your bottom line. 8.3 millimeters, or more. That's the average grain length before it even hits the boiling water. When you're sourcing for premium retail positioning or high-end hospitality, this exceptional length guarantees a massive visual appeal. Honestly, it's the unmistakable physical signature of the 1121 variety and exactly what premium consumers are hunting for. But the real kicker is this next specification, broken grains sitting at under 1%. Why does this matter so much? Because keeping broken grains at low creates undeniable visual uniformity. You see it in the bag on a supermarket shelf, and you definitely see it on the plate. For premium buyers, restaurant owners, and food service operators, having long, perfectly intact grains isn't just a nice-to-have, it's completely non-negotiable when meeting customer expectations for authentic basmati quality. Next up, we have a strict moisture content spec of under 13%. If you're managing international logistics, this number is absolutely vital. You see, controlling moisture at this specific level is the key to supporting long-term warehouse storage. It basically ensures the rice survives the rigorous export prep, the container loading, and the entire international shipping process without degrading or developing any nasty quality issues along the way. So, pulling all these critical data points together gives us a really clear specification snapshot. We've got that 8.3 millimeter plus size and the distinct off-white color. Moisture is firmly locked in under 13%. Broken grains are capped strictly under 1%, and your admixture is limited to an 8% maximum. You'll also notice minimal chalky grains and that signature semi-polished finish. If you're a buyer, this data right here is your essential framework for evaluating the product before you ever sign a procurement deal. Okay, let's look behind the scenes in Section 3, the parboiling process. How do we physically achieve those amazing specs? Well, it's quite the journey. It all kicks off with paddy selection and cleaning to rigorously strip out impurities. Then we hit the defining phase, controlled soaking and steaming, which is where the grain structure fundamentally firms up. Next comes controlled drying and dehusking before we finally move into grading, separating out those broken grains and getting it ready for export packaging. The biggest takeaway here? Controlled moisture at every single one of these stages dictates the final commercial spec. And this brilliantly illustrates the real-world difference side by side. Parboiled basmati gives you that off-white, semi-polished finish, resulting in a distinctly firmer grain structure. Contrast that with standard white basmati. Sure, it has a bright white, fully polished finish, but it inherently features a much softer structure. That pre-milling process we just talked about is entirely responsible for the parboiled variety's structural resilience. Let's jump into Section 4, Culinary Applications. Taking this highly engineered grain off the factory floor and into the professional kitchen is where we see the ultimate commercial payoff. We're talking massive, high-volume applications here: biryani, pilaf, pulao, kabsa, and mandi. In these bustling environments, visual presentation is literally everything. When you're cooking in massive quantities, you need a grain that absolutely won't clump up or turn to mush. The firm structure of 1121 parboiled basmati perfectly supports demanding recipes that need distinct, beautiful grain separation. Which brings us to the ultimate end benefit, a flawlessly fluffy texture with total non-sticky grain separation after cooking. That is the true magic of the parboiling process paying off. The grains elongate beautifully, they stay perfectly separate, and they hold up under the immense pressure of demanding, high-volume professional kitchens where culinary consistency is, well, everything. Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 5, Procurement and Supplier Selection. When it's time to actually secure this product, you'll find the packaging formats for international distribution are incredibly versatile. You've got everything from 1 kilogram up to 10 kilogram retail and family packs built for supermarket shelves. Then it scales up to 20 kilogram food service bags tailored for those commercial kitchens, all the way to 40 kilogram wholesale bulk bags. Vitally, there's massive flexibility here for custom private label branding, meaning buyers can develop customized designs that perfectly align with their specific destination market requirements. So, if you're a wholesale buyer, grab a pen because here is your concrete evaluation checklist. Before you even think about confirming any long-term commercial orders, you absolutely must audit potential suppliers on their grain length consistency, their strict moisture management, and their control over broken and chalky grains. Verify their processing standards and quality inspection systems. Always insist on rigorous sample approval procedures. Evaluating the aroma, texture, and grain separation for yourself. And finally, ensure they have flawless export documentation and container loading capabilities to guarantee a smooth, consistent supply program. We've covered a massive amount of highly valuable procurement data today, so I want to leave you with this one provocative thought. Have you strictly defined your final commercial specifications and contractual tolerances before your next bulk shipment? Successful procurement doesn't just happen by accident, right? Take these numbers, apply them directly to your purchasing strategy, and demand absolute excellence from your supply chain. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you next time.